It's time for Ask Zach. This segment is the way I end every single one of my podcasts. People who support me on Patreon, patreon.com/Zach Schaumler. It's $1 a month. You can give me more money if you want. It would really help me. I'm trying to get my own apartment. It would help me pay my bills. But $1 a month gives you access to submit questions to me through Patreon. I only accept questions on Patreon through the Patreon DM services, or you can post on Patreon's posts if you're a subscriber there. And I will not guarantee to read your question on the show if you support me on Patreon. But what I will do is look at it with my eyeballs. I'll give it a look, and then I consider all the questions entered in every week, and then pick the best couple to read on the show. In this segment, I call Ask Zach. So today we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 questions for Ask Zach. I love them all. I was very impressed with the questions people brought in. And I want to start with, before we start with the first question, I want to just say thank you to Alex. Alex, you know who you are. You sent me a very kind message. I sent you a message, but I also just want to say publicly, Alex, I really appreciate you. You're awesome. And I just want to shout out to you on the show because you're a big supporter of mine, and I just appreciate you a lot. So Tyler writes in. Tyler says, "Hey, Zach, love the podcast. Keep up the amazing work. I have a question, though, for the Ask Zach, for the segment. Sweet. He says, what 3-0 teams do you believe are legit contenders, and what teams do you think are flukes?" So Tyler, there are 7 undefeated NFL teams. 7 teams are 3-0. The Bills, the Cowboys, the Packers, the Chiefs, the Packers, the 49ers, and the Rams. And you left the term, who is a legit contender? That's kind of up for interpretation. Here's how I'm going to interpret that. I say legit contender means they have a chance to win a Super Bowl. I think 5 of the teams that are 3-0 have a legit chance to win a Super Bowl this year. The Cowboys, the Packers, the Patriots, the Chiefs, and the Rams. All 5 have, and to different levels, a combination of coach, quarterback, defense, and offensive line that is capable of winning a Super Bowl. For example, the Patriots have a way better head coach and a better quarterback, but a weaker offensive line and a good defense. And the Cowboys have a coach I don't really believe in is weaker, but a great quarterback, a great offensive line, and a great defense, right? So to varying degrees, they have the 4 ingredients I think you need to win a Super Bowl. Again, the 5 teams are the Cowboys, the Packers, the Patriots, Chiefs, and the Rams. Of the teams that are undefeated that you brought up and asked me to talk about, those are the 5 that I think are contenders. Now, the Bills and the 49ers are also undefeated. They're also 3-0. And those are not flukes, right? They are playing pretty well. They are good teams. And of all the average teams in the NFL, I think the Bills and the 49ers are kind of the top level of the average teams. They're the upper middle, would you have. The Bills and the 49ers both have good rosters, coaches I like. Now, the questions for both of those teams are, the quarterback. The Bills quarterback, Josh Allen, is a second-year quarterback. He's still young and pretty raw. I don't think he has a chance to win a Super Bowl. No matter how good his team is, I don't think he's quite ready. And the 49ers quarterback, Jimmy Garoppolo, is a guy I just don't trust it. He's had a good game. He's had a couple bad games. He's just kind of all over the place. And I really need to see a lot better from him down the road and more consistently better in order for me to believe in Jimmy Garoppolo. He's fine, but I will say I love the 49ers roster, and I'm curious if their quarterback can step it up and win games. So those are the 7 teams that are undefeated. 5 of them are legit contenders, as Tyler would ask. CJ wrote in and said, "Hey, Zach, I'm a huge fan of the show and was wondering if you have considered making merch for the show." CJ, yes. I plan on making merchandise, t-shirts, and maybe pants for the show. Now, my life right now is in total chaos. I live in my friend's basement. I left my college. I'm trying to get my own place. There's a bunch of stuff going on that is very... there's a lot going on. I'm pretty stressed. I'm trying to just make content as best I can. And once I get settled and kind of get on my feet, then merch will come. I think I could make money actually selling t-shirts. I think it'd be really cool. But I don't want to just do it for the money. It's really important to me to not rush it and do it the right way. My goal with merchandise, if I'm going to sell something, I want to do it right. I want to make a good product, make quality stuff with good material that I would wear. Because my goal is to make a bunch of t-shirts and then only wear my t-shirts that I sell. Because here's what I love doing. I love waking up in the morning and you walk over to your dresser, you open the drawer and you go, and most people look at their dresser and go, what am I going to wear today? I hate that. I hate making the decision, what am I going to wear today? There's a reason I wear the same shirt on the podcast every single day. My goal is to wake up and go, hey, I have 5 shirts. They're all the same. They're all Strong Opinion Sports shirts. And no one can ever give me crap for wearing a shirt that's my company, because guess what? My company, I can do whatever I want. So my goal is to make shirts that I think are high quality, that I want to wear around every single day. So I'm still figuring that out, but when I have shirts and merchandise, I will definitely tell you guys. I think it'd be cool to make hats, and I think sweatpants would be cool, all kinds of stuff. But for now, I'm not sure when it's going to happen, but I am working on it. And I promise you this, right? The only thing I promise with Strong Opinion Sports always is that I will make quality. I want to always promise my content will be the very best content it can be. And that includes my merchandise. I want to make high quality, really good shirts that I would wear all the time that are worth selling to you guys. CJ, thank you for your question. Wyatt writes in, and Wyatt says, hey, Zach, wondering what matchups you're interested in for the MLB playoffs and what storylines you're excited to watch for this coming NBA season. So what I did is, first of all, number one, I absolutely love the MLB playoffs. I love baseball. Playoff baseball, when it matters, is one of my favorite things in the world to watch. It's truly special. When, there's tension and I'm on the edge of my seat going, is he going to hit that? There's a runner on second, and I don't know, a base hit scores the runner, and that's the tying run. It's just so fun and interesting. So for me, there are a couple teams on a collision course in Major League Baseball. The number one is in the American League, is the Yankees and the Astros. At some point, they're going to play each other, and you bet I'm going to talk about it. I'm going to watch. I'm going to love every minute of it. I believe the Astros are going to win, but I think Yankees-Astros would be a great series. Can't wait to watch. Then the winner between the Astros and the Yankees, one of those two teams, I believe, is going to go to the World Series and end up playing the LA Dodgers. And man, that would be a blast. Dodgers-Astros or Dodgers-Yankees. Probably Dodgers-Yankees is better for TV viewership because two great cities and two big giant markets and two cities with a giant fan base. Dodgers-Yankees would be really cool. But I just want good baseball. I want good drama. That's what playoff baseball is. Regular baseball is kind of boring, I'll be honest. In July, don't care. When baseball matters in the playoffs, I am all in. I love it because baseball, when it matters, there's nothing like it. Now, how about the NBA? I came up with 10 storylines to watch in the NBA this season that excite me. And even if you're not an NBA fan, I think you should listen to this because there are 10 storylines you can learn to follow that are really cool. Number one, my number one storyline is the Lakers. They have LeBron James. They have Anthony Davis. The question is, can they build something in LA? I'm curious to watch. Now, the Brooklyn Nets are another team I want to watch. They have Kyrie Irving. And eventually, they're going to have Kevin Durant. And there will be stress and weird questions on whose team is it? Is it Kyrie's team? Is it Kevin Durant's team? That's one weird stress that's going to happen. The other question I have with the Brooklyn Nets is, how long will it be before irrational New York fans start asking, where's Kevin Durant? New York fans are inherently irrational. They're going to start chanting and wondering, we want Kevin Durant. And it's like, he tore his Achilles, is injured, he can't come. But for some reason, that's what's going to happen. And so I can't wait for that chaos. It's going to be fun. The third storyline I'm excited for is the Boston Celtics. They replaced Kyrie Irving with Kemba Walker, and I just wonder, is Kemba Walker a better fit at point guard for the Boston Celtics? I think so. It'll be fun to find out. My fourth thing is Zion with the New Orleans Pelicans. Zion Williamson. Is he even ready to make an impact in the NBA? Is he even ready? He's a young kid. He's a rookie. Is he in shape? I have a lot of questions. I'm just excited to watch. It's going to be a fun experiment. How will he play? I don't know. Trae Young. He's entering his second year with the Atlanta Hawks. I'm fascinated with him. People say he might be the next Steph Curry. I don't really believe that, but hey, we'll find out. Will he develop or not? I don't know. But I'm going to pay attention to Trae Young more than other. I know there's better rookies. Luka Doncic's fantastic, but Trae Young is the guy I have my eye on that I'm curious to watch, and I wonder if he develops as a basketball player. Number 6, I have my eye on the Rockets. They have James Harden. They just brought in Russell Westbrook. Sounds like a train wreck. Two ball hogs that want the ball all the time. Will it work? I have no idea. It'll be fun to find out. The Clippers. My question for the Clippers is, can they dominate Los Angeles with Kawhi Leonard? The 76ers have a bunch of expectations in Philadelphia, but my question is, can they deliver? That's what I want to see from the Philadelphia 76ers. Can they deliver on all the expectations people are throwing their way? How about the Golden State Warriors? I think they're still really good. They lost Kevin Durant. Klay Thompson is hurt. He tore his ACL. He's out. He'll be back someday. Don't know when, but eventually. But they still have Steph Curry, and they also added D'Angelo Russell. I'm excited to watch D'Angelo Russell play with Steph Curry and see what kind of match they could be. And, I just think they could actually work pretty well. We'll find out. Steph Curry is amazing. D'Angelo Russell could progress and get better. Let's watch the Warriors see what they become, especially in a Western Conference now in the NBA where there's a lot more parity and every team has a chance. That actually helps the Warriors because every team got a little worse, which means that they also can hang around now that they got worse. My final question is, can Giannis take the Milwaukee Bucks farther than he ever has before? He won MVP. He's fantastic. And we're not going to know the answer to this question until the end of the year, but there's a lot of people love Giannis, and he hasn't won as much as I would like him to. We'll see if he can. I don't know. He's a great player. He's really fun to watch. Can that translate to playoff wins and playoff success long into the, can he get his team to the finals? I don't think so, but we'll find out. I think the Celtics and the 76ers are both better than the Bucks, but hey, it'll be fun to watch what happens with Giannis, and can he take his team a little farther? Okay, Lawrence wrote in. He says, "Hey Zach, just me again," because I think I read so many Lawrence questions. Lawrence, you have good questions. I'm sorry, I read a bunch of yours. I don't mean to leave other people out, but your questions are, Lawrence is fantastic because I'm here because I'm concerned with your boy Baker Mayfield. Not a lot of analysts these past few weeks have been crushing Coach Kitchens because of his play calling. He says now a lot of analysts these past few weeks have been crushing Coach Kitchens because of his play calling. Surprisingly, I haven't heard a lot of people call out Baker. I went and watched the past few games, and man, he looks like a different person. Baker's been so frazzled in the pocket these past 3 weeks and has been trying to extend plays with his legs more, which in turn have caused him more harm than good. My question to you is, Zach, who do you put more of the blame on for the Browns' struggles, Coach Kitchens or Baker? There are 3 things I think when you watch the Browns. One is that their offensive line is bad. They have a bad offensive line. And, clearly that's gotten to Baker Mayfield's head. The second thing is I don't think the Browns have the emotional maturity to handle the pressure of this year and to handle losing the way they've lost and the way I think they could continue to lose. And third is that Freddie Kitchens, their first-time head coach, is not good enough of a head coach and not experienced enough of a head coach to manage the culture in Cleveland. Plus, he's running, let's make fun of him a little bit. He's running on 4th and 9. That's awful. Like one of the worst play calls I've ever seen. So I get mad. I was watching TV and I was like, what in the world? It's 4th and 9. And the Cleveland Browns called a running play. I think it's the worst play call I've ever seen in my life. It's easy to make fun of. It's a giant wart on the side of your face. It's just asking you to be talked about. But man. So here's the thing with Baker Mayfield. I got mad. I don't know where that came from. I just had a burst of energy. I was like, get mad. Baker Mayfield looks really, really stressed. I think the pressure and the expectations are finally kind of getting to him. And, he did accept the weight of an entire city. He accepted the weight of Cleveland on his shoulders. And I think that's just a lot for one guy to handle. And so he's forcing things. He's pressing way too hard. I think he needs to relax and let the game come to him rather than, whatever the heck he's doing. I love him. I love Baker. I believe in Baker Mayfield. I think he's a great football player. But yeah, he's escaping the pocket way too early. He doesn't trust anybody. He's trying to do way too much. He's running around, and he's just not playing well because he needs to let the game come to him. And, I think he needs to do some soul searching, get back to his roots because he's at the heart of Baker Mayfield. He's a good football player. He's a warrior. I think he's a good leader. He's got to let go of some of the nonsense and I think focus on who he is. And if he gets back to that, he can win. I believe in Baker Mayfield, but only if he gets back to what he's done his entire life, which is, make good decisions, not try to do too much, and play within himself. And I don't mean not try to do too much. He's got a great arm. He doesn't need to run around and extend plays. He can win with his arm. He's highly accurate. He's got great receivers. And so I think Baker Mayfield needs to relax a little bit and let the game come to him rather than pressing and trying to do too much. Okay, Philip wrote in and said, Zach, he says, hey, Zach, I was wondering who your picks would be for a potential Super Bowl run outside of teams like Kansas City, New England. underdog teams, so to speak, such as San Francisco or maybe the Texans, can you see anybody making it that far except for teams that are currently deemed as the favorites? I had an answer, kind of written down. I said that the Colts, everyone kind of wrote off the Colts when Andrew Luck got hurt. But they have a really complete roster, and their quarterback, Jacoby Brissett, has been playing great. I think there's a chance that the Colts surprise people. Their roster is so complete. They can win. And Jacoby Brissett's good. Their roster's incredible. But I will actually, Philip, you asked me to go kind of outside the box. I think it's possible the Colts would be considered, one of those teams that everybody talks about all the time. Here's a team nobody's ever talked about. The Detroit Lions are 2-0-1. They should be 3-0. And I think they've elevated themselves from a team that is... They've elevated themselves from an average team to one of the upper middle teams. Like, of all the average teams in the NFL, I think they might be the best. And it's possible they are an elite football team. I like their quarterback, Matthew Stafford. Highly talented, good. They have a solid offensive line, a good defense, and a head coach that is interesting and young and doing some curious stuff. And so I don't want to, you asked me to, this is a reach. And Philip asked me if I could make a reach. So let's do it. It's possible the Detroit Lions have changed their culture enough and are turning things around with their franchise. I don't know, but people do change. And the Lions are clearly trying to change and trying to turn things around. Watch the Lions and the Chiefs this week. The Lions have a chance at home to beat the Chiefs in their dome. And even if they don't win, they could put up a really good fight, and that could still be a statement. Hey, we're the Lions. We're not a bad football team. But really, the best thing the Lions can do is they can fight all they want. They can make it a close game. If the Lions beat the Chiefs this week, it's a statement win that says, hey, we're not the Lions of old. We are here, and we're really good. I don't know if they can. The Lions might get blown out by the Chiefs. But if they do beat the Chiefs, there's a reason for it. And I think the Lions could be showing signs of a team that is turning things around and becoming a high-level, possibly an elite NFL franchise. I know it's silly. I know it's a stretch, but you asked me to make a stretch. Hey, the Lions are the team I thought of. Micah wrote in and said, hey, one true question for the episode is, have you ever played The Last of Us? And how does The Last of Us 2 look? Wish you the best. First of all, man, The Last of Us. Dude, I love The Last of Us. It's a fantastic franchise. They only released one game. I like the DLC. I think it was the two girls, Ellie and the other girl. It was fun, man. I love Naughty Dog's developer. I love the developer of The Last of Us, Naughty Dog. If you know the history of Naughty Dog, they made the games Jak and Daxter. They also made Crash Bandicoot. I never loved Crash Bandicoot, but I did love Jak and Daxter. As a kid, that was my favorite series. And to this day, my two favorite video game series of all time are Uncharted and Horizon Zero Dawn. I love Horizon. I love that kind of game. But The Last of Us and Uncharted are both story-driven games. And the gameplay's fun. But the story of The Last of Us is so cool. And I love it. And I think The Last of Us 2 looks fantastic. The minute it's released, I'll be playing it. That's how I'll put it. I think it comes out February 11th. Man, you better believe I'm excited for The Last of Us. I don't play a lot of video games, but every once in a while, there's a game that's so good that makes me take a break from my regular life and begin playing games again. Horizon Zero Dawn did that for me. Any Uncharted game does that for me, and The Last of Us absolutely is one of those games that will make me change my entire habits. It'll be the first game I've played in 2 years, but wherever since Horizon came out. But you better believe, yes, I'm playing The Last of Us. It's going to be fantastic, and I will talk about it on the show because, man, apparently people like it, and I in brief little tangents throughout, between topics, yeah, I'll definitely talk about it. Sorry, I know it's a sports podcast. You asked, hey, that's the fun of this topic is I can say whatever I want. Stephanie wrote in and says, who do you think is the worst quarterback in the entire NFL? Okay, I'm not going to answer this the way she wants. The worst quarterback in the entire NFL I really don't know. But I will say there's a quarterback who's driven me nuts for years. And this guy infuriates me more than anybody else. It's a quarterback, the former Jaguars starter, Blake Bortles. Oh, he is awful. I don't want to say I hate the guy, but man, I think actually I should do a film analysis of Blake Bortles down the road. He is so frustratingly bad. He, first of all, cannot throw the football. Like, he literally actually straight up struggles to throw the football, which is like, I think that might be the number one thing for a quarterback is, hey, day one of quarterback play, do they go, like, well, you show up to play quarterback and they go, hey, can you throw the ball? And Blake Bortles will go, kind of, and they go, yeah, get over there, go play tight end. Like, Blake Bortles can't throw the ball. And the second thing is he's terrible at reading defenses. He makes awful decisions. He threw the ball so many times into triple coverage. I really should do, when the year ends, I should do a film analysis of Blake Bortles. It might seem mean-spirited, but I can't believe he got a big contract. Like Blake Bortles, the former Jaguars quarterback, nobody irks me and irritates me more to watch than Blake Bortles. I hate him. I think he's awful. And he's not the worst quarterback in the NFL. I'm sure there's somebody worse. I can't think of him right now. But to me, that's the worst, most frustrating quarterback in the entire NFL to watch. Okay, Harv wrote in and said, love the videos. Do you think the Giants could finish with a winning record this season? So the Giants, yes. Harv, yes. The Giants could finish with a winning record, kind of. The Giants, especially with Daniel Jones at quarterback, have a chance to win a lot of games. I think so. I really believe that. They have 13 games left this year, and 7 of them are absolutely winnable. 7 of their 13 games. And if they win 7 of the next 13 games, the Giants would finish the year at 8-8. The 7 games I think are winnable for the New York Giants are the Redskins. They played them twice. They can win both of those games. The Cardinals, the Lions, the Jets, the Dolphins, and they play the Eagles twice in the next 13 weeks. I think they could definitely win at least one of those games. So if they do that, the Giants would finish 8-8. Now, here are the teams I don't see them beating. The Vikings, the Packers, the Bears, the Cowboys, and the Eagles. And I think they lose to the Eagles at least one of the 2 times they play them. And they're not going to beat the Patriots. So I love Daniel Jones. I think they could go 8-8. That's a great hope for them. Now, maybe Daniel Jones can steal a game from a really good team, or maybe like the Vikings quarterback gets hurt or the Bears quarterback gets hurt, and then they win that game too. But Daniel Jones is still a rookie quarterback. He looks fantastic. Remember, he's a rookie. And I think the best hope for the Giants is to go 8-8 this year. That's their best outcome for their season. And I actually think they don't want to go 8-8 because it would give them a worse draft pick. And because you're not going to make the playoffs, I think the Giants should root for a bad year and a good draft pick so they can make their team a little bit better next year. But hey, also you don't want to lose intentionally, so it's kind of a weird middle ground. But yeah, the Giants, they have a chance to go 8-8. Maybe 9-7 if someone gets hurt. And so the Giants could finish the year with a winning record, in my opinion. Ben writes in. Ben says, which position is the hardest to evaluate in your opinion and why? For me personally, it's the offensive line positions. I find it really difficult to evaluate college lineman prospects. Ben, I'm really sorry. I'm not going to answer your question the way you quite want. I'm going to get a little creative, but I'm still going to speak on the topic you want. I think it's better than not answering the question. I'm not sure who the hardest position for me to evaluate is. I kind of just do my thing, and I don't know. I haven't run into that. I haven't run into a problem in any position yet. But what I will say is that I want to share my philosophy on how I evaluate players who are coming into the NFL. Number one is physical ability. Physical ability does matter. You want players who are really talented. I know it's not that is sexy. That's why people fall in love with guys like DK Metcalf. But I will say, physical ability is not everything. This is where I think I differ a lot from other evaluators. Most evaluators get hung up on he's fast, he's tall, he's quick, whatever it is. And I don't think athleticism is everything you need to have as a football player. There are 2 other factors that are, I think, simple, but very, very important. Number one is when you watch film of a player, does he do his job properly every single play? Is he in the right spot? Is he running the right coverage? How is his technique? Does he do his job well? I would rather have that over a guy who's super talented and does his job wrong. So does he do his job well is number one. Number 2 is effort. Does he give great effort all throughout the game and fight really hard the entire game? Till the end. There's a big defensive tackle for Utah that people are evaluating right now. And last week against USC, at the end of the game, USC had the ball, and they just needed to run up the clock. Utah needed to stop. USC had multiple runs right up the middle at this guy, and his effort was awful. He couldn't stop him, and he looked lazy. He looked slow and like he wasn't fighting very hard. He disappeared at the end of the game. And I watched that defensive tackle and said, oh, he's pretty good, but yeah, he just really sunk way lower down my board because his effort was not what I wanted at the end of the game. He didn't fight hard. And fighting hard matters. Do you battle? Your effort is a choice. It's one of the only things. You can't choose how tall you are. But your effort is a choice. Do you fight hard or not? And that guy from Utah, to me, didn't fight very hard. Some people are just unreal talented. And at a certain point, talent overrules everything. That's why some guys who are really talented, Josh Gordon's a great example. Josh Gordon's got more chances than a lot of guys in the NFL because he's physically incredibly, incredibly talented. And you want guys who are really, really talented. But for the most part, I'll basically always take a guy who's less talented, but does his job properly every single time, who's always in the right spot, who fights really hard till the end of a game, who battles, gives really great effort. I think evaluators far too often fall in love with talent and forget effort and doing your job, being in the right spot. Those two things matter too. And they'll go, this D lineman's amazing. It's like, but he's undisciplined. He has all these problems. Like, you might think you can coach his behavior and change that, but you're just drafting him because you think his physical ability is really cool. Now, every once in a while, so I think physical ability is pretty overrated, but every once in a while, you get a guy who's got all three, who, is like Julio Jones is super talented. He's also really disciplined. He works incredibly hard. He's in the right spot all the time. And his effort is unbelievable. Julio Jones is one of those rare special players who has all three things you look for in a football player: talented, effort, and does his job. So, I just think that, again, talent sometimes is overrated. Pay attention to the other two things when you're evaluating players. Are they in the right spot? And how's their effort? Those two things matter a lot more than people give them credit to. Patrick writes in. Patrick says, "Hey, Zach, I love your show, and I really appreciate the effort you put into the show." Thank you. I love the show. I'm proud of it. I love it too, man. Thank you. He says, "My question is, what is your opinion on this year's LSU team? Do you think Joe Burrow could win the Heisman, and do you think LSU has a chance to win the national championship? Greetings from Germany. Keep it up." Patrick, you're from Germany. I don't know how I missed that when I compiled the questions. Patrick, thank you for listening. That's really cool. I love when we have international listeners of the podcast. Patrick, LSU could get to the national championship. I'm not sure they could beat Clemson, but I like their team, and I love their quarterback, Joe Burrow. Here's the obstacle in the way of LSU getting to a national championship. It's Alabama. On November 9th, they play Alabama at Alabama in Tuscaloosa in Bryant-Denny Stadium. I think that's what it's called. And if LSU can win that game, then the rest of their schedule is very manageable. They could actually go to the national championship, but they got to beat Alabama. The biggest game of the year for LSU is November 9th at Alabama. If they can win that game, that's their entire season. If they can win that game, yeah, they have a chance to make it to the playoff and go on to maybe get to a national championship. I don't think they beat Clemson, but they could if they can beat Alabama. That's the game. When you asked this question, that's what immediately popped in my head was, man, November 9th at Alabama's coming up. I like their pieces. I like what they got. But they got to win that game before we talk about national championships. The final question comes from Sam. Sam says, "What do you think of the Saints after seeing them beat the Seattle Seahawks?" I think the Saints defense played fantastic. They let up a little bit at the end, but by the fourth quarter, the game was clearly over. Also, Teddy Bridgewater showed he can still manage a starting quarterback role, which leads me to my next question. Do you realistically see Teddy Bridgewater being Drew Brees' successor? Look, Sam, the Saints roster is unreal. Like, they're super, super good. And I should have given that a little more weight when I made my topic when Drew Brees got hurt. I should have said, hey, even with Teddy Bridgewater, their roster is so good that they can win with average quarterback play, because they did. Now, here's the truth. They do not need Teddy Bridgewater to be Drew Brees. Teddy Bridgewater just needs to be a game manager. Against the Seattle Seahawks, he made great decisions, did a lot of stuff I like. And your second question is he Drew Brees' next successor? I did a whole film analysis about this. I'm still waiting to see what Teddy Bridgewater evolves and becomes. Can he make tough throws downfield in the tight windows? I have no idea. I don't think so. We'll really find out. But there's a lot to be desired from Teddy Bridgewater. However, there's also a lot to love. Is he the next predecessor? I don't know. But the reason why the Saints beat the Seahawks is because their roster is unbelievable. They had a defensive touchdown. They had a special teams touchdown. Clearly, their team is really, really talented. And they don't need a great quarterback to win.